All right, well, ever since I was a little kid, I have always been very passionate about professional wrestling. Some of my earliest memories in life revolve around pro wrestling, whether it's watching pro wrestling with my father or my stepfather as a little kid during the Monday Night Wars, watching SmackDown when it was Fridays and then Thursdays and then back to Fridays, watching things like Ring of Honor, watching things like MLW, watching things like New Japan Pro Wrestling, watching things like uh, TNA wrestling. I grew up on pro wrestling, and my life pretty much revolves around pro wrestling, football, and work, and my family. So I've always wanted to give back to professional wrestling in a way and talk about pro wrestling on some type of a forum. I'm not famous and I don't have a big enough name to really talk about it on anybody's forum or platform. So I'm kind of going to make my own. I want to do this mainly for me, just to kind of reflect and to have a good time and to enjoy myself and get to watch some great pro wrestling matches. But I also want to do it for you, for people who aren't familiar with pro wrestling, or people who are casual pro wrestling fans that don't know a lot about, some of the classic great matches of all time, or for you hardcore fans that are just wanting to go through and find new matches to watch to continue to raise that fandom. So I'm going to be reviewing wrestling matches off of the Dave Meltzer 5-star plus rating scale. If you don't know anything about Dave Meltzer is one of the most, I would say, most famous wrestling journalist of all time. He's been doing it for a long, long, long time. And what he did is he created a 5-star rating system, and it's a scale where he watches matches, he evaluates matches, and he gives them a star grade. And to be on the 5-star scale or 5-star rating list, you have to put on pretty much a perfect performance start to finish. You have to be able to wrestle. You have to be able to tell the story with your wrestling and with your movements and with your crowd work. You have to be able to get the crowd's involvement and the crowd's interest. And you also have to be able to have high points and sell the finish. And so I'm going to go through some of the classic Meltzer matches and kind of give my opinion on them. I'm going to try to watch the ones, for the most part, that I haven't seen before, or ones that it's been a long time since I've seen. I might throw a couple of my favorite recent Meltzer matches on there. Big Will Ospreay fan, so some of the Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega matches, things like that, I'll add on there. But primarily, I want to do this as a way to just be involved in wrestling somehow. So today, I'm actually going to review Meltzer's first 5-star rated match. It took place on April 7th, 1982. The match was at Championship Wrestling in Florida at their Miami Beach show, and it's going to be an NWA title match between the great, one of my favorite, literally probably my number one on my Mount Rushmore, Ric Flair, versus a guy that I'm not really familiar with. I know a little bit about him, but I haven't really seen a whole lot of his matches, Butch Reed. This match, I know the finish. I know the controversy that happens in the match. So we're going to watch this match. We're going to give it a review, and I'm going to pause it in between and kind of talk about my thoughts. But this forum, this platform has to have some type of a title. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this Beers to Bells, okay? And what that means is I'm going to open a beer at the opening bell, and I'm going to sip on an ice-cold beer and watch a match and just truly enjoy it like a spectator, like a fan, like a super fan. If some people want to say it, a mark, a mark. I'm not going to give a bunch of like woulda, coulda, shouldas and stuff like that in this, so I wouldn't really say it's mark material. But today I'm going to be drinking a Busch Light, and I'm going to be watching Ric Flair versus Butch Reed, April 7th, 1982, at Championship Wrestling Florida at their Miami Beach show. So, let's jump on in. First and foremost, this video would not be possible if it wasn't for 106 in Albany uploading this video, so I want to give you your credit. I'll give you your credit about 4 or 5 times during this, just because, number one, I don't want to get hit with a copyright infringement, but number two, I really do appreciate you uploading this video and giving people opportunities to watch this great match from 1982.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching a World Heavyweight Championship match in progress at this time. Hacksaw Butch Reed, the challenger in the aquamarine trunks, going up against the NWA World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair in the light blue trunks. This is a World Heavyweight Championship match.
Right off the bat, those arm drags were nasty. That's textbook. That is beautiful to watch. especially for 1982 when the moves were much more simpler. The 80s, the 70s, the 80s when moves were pretty simple. The way he carried out and executed those arm drags, superb.
Briscoe with me here at ringside as we're watching the NWA World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair in a...
It's just the subtle movements that I really respect about pro wrestling. Just the small, simple chain wrestling sequences. It's just beautiful. It truly makes it an art because you don't want to start fast. You want to build. You want to have a slow build all the way to a massive epic, conclusion to the match. I think that's the art of storytelling in pro wrestling. And I think a lot of times in today's day and age that is kind of missing. Slowing things down, pacing yourself, going through the entire match, I think has kind of been lost. A lot of these guys want to start off and quote unquote do flippy stuff. There's another word for that, but flippy stuff. And they don't really slow it down and try to tell the story in the ring. There are guys today that still do that, but I feel like this is kind of something that's kind of a lost art with more of the acrobatic styles of wrestling.
A title defense against Hacksaw Butch Reed, and it's Flair making it over to the ring ropes and forcing the break on this one. And may I just say, Jerry, at this particular point in this match with about 14 minutes or less remaining, that Reed has certainly been acquitting himself extremely well against the champion, but I would have to say the champion is perhaps just slightly out front.
Well, Ric Flair, the world heavyweight champion, Gordon, is very experienced. He is the world champion, but this Butch Reed, Hacksaw Reed, is coming on, like you say. He's been carrying the match to Ric Flair, the champion, but Flair has...
I don't know. I just think Butch Reed running the ropes, he is so athletic. Just watching him move across the ring is so impressive to see. But also, Ric Flair, the selling ability, the emotion that he shows with every single movement that he makes is so phenomenal. And that's why I think Ric Flair's style is timeless. He's one of the few wrestlers that have a timeless style that will withstand their lives, that will last past them. That if you take him and you put him in any generation of wrestling, he is going to be a top draw. I love Ric Flair. Sorry, guys.
Has now got that burst of energy. He's starting to show his experience. He's starting to show that force that's made him the world's heavyweight champion, and he is coming on.
Reed dropped to the canvas once again, and it is Ric Flair with a snap mirror takes Reed back to the canvas. Now it goes into a rear chin lock, and it is Butch Reed trying to escape, tried to sit out, tried to move away from his man, turns into his man. Butch Reed continues to move on his man, spinning and turning now as it is Ric Flair upended by the...
See, that's such a fun mat wrestling sequence right there. Make a move, make a reversal, make a move, make a reversal. I love watching that. Again, slowing it down, making every movement count, and making the match worthwhile.
Challenger of Bruce Reed, Hacksaw Reed, upends the challenger. And so Hacksaw Reed has burning within him that intense desire. What an opportunity for this young athlete. He's out of the Central Missouri College. He was an All-American there, wrestled throughout his high school and college career, was All-American, and of course went on with the Kansas City Chiefs and has returned to his primary love, and that of course one-on-one competition. And that one-on-one competition being rewarded at this moment with a chance against the world heavyweight champion. High waist lift takedown by the champion Ric Flair. Flair trying to keep a ride going, and Reed again slips away.
Again, that is beautiful mat wrestling. That's so fun to watch. This match has been such a slow pace at the beginning, but like I said earlier, every movement has mattered, every movement has counted, and it's been a stalemate up to this point.
And Reed is certainly proving himself to be...
Is that Rick or Charlotte? Can't really tell.
An outstanding counter and defensive wrestler. Jerry?
Well, you can certainly tell that Butch Reed has done plenty of studying on Ric Flair's style. A beautiful waist lift takedown, as you said, Gordon. Hacksaw Reed immediately hit. He hit what for the long setouts, a series of setouts. You continue those setouts. You notice Butch Reed never stopped his momentum. He never stopped his motion, and it worked for him. Once you get into that position where you're underneath, you've got to keep moving at all times.
Reed exploding on the side of the jaw of the champion, Ric Flair, and now Hacksaw Reed moving very effectively, and Reed throwing away the rule book here temporarily.
Again, the selling of Ric Flair. You don't see selling like this anymore. There's very few guys today that can sell as good as Ric Flair. Not as good, almost as good as Ric Flair. Ric Flair was just in a league of his own. You had a couple guys like Shawn Michaels and The Rock that could sell really well, but I feel like they oversold. I feel like in his prime, Ric Flair sold the perfect amount and in the best way possible. Selling-wise, Ric Flair was incredible.
Early drops the champion. Ric Flair, the world heavyweight champion, coming up very slowly now as Reed. There's where the experience, there's where the time in the ring and the number of years is beginning to pay off for the champion. He caught him with a knee coming in, and now Reed hurdled through those center ropes out to the concrete floor outside, coming up a little slowly. And so Flair, there may be a bit here, Jerry, I'm not sure, but there may be a bit of quiet desperation here with Ric Flair.
Well, Ric Flair has reached the point in his career where he's got to go on, and he's got to continue with that championship belt. He's got to prove his force inside the ring. Ric Flair has become a dominant factor in the world of professional wrestling with the championship. Here you see a beautiful, beautiful vertical suplex come bring.
Now the match is starting to speed up. The pacing's starting to get a little quicker. They're making more, I would say they're doing more dominating type of moves. They're not close to their finishers or anything like that, but they're starting to build the match up. They're starting to tell this story in slow increments. They're doing a slow burn to the finish and the conclusion of the match. I'm loving this. That suplex was beautiful.
Hacksaw Reed right down on his back, and it shakes him up.
And it is the champion now, crashing down across him, catching him under the chin, across the throat, and high on those pectoralis majors. Reed powers out again. And so Reed, who has taken some severe blows here, including that vertical suplex, now taking a lot of punishment from the world. And Reed firing back. Reed standing up to the test now. And it is Reed.
What a good striking sequence. Flair threw the signature chop. Butch Reed struck back. Flair struck back, bouncing back and forth. And then finally Butch Reed hit the big striking blow there to drop Ric Flair down to his knees and to kind of change the momentum of the match going into the next sequence. Beautiful. Also loved that downward striking punch. That was kind of cool.
Who drops the champion again. And so Ric Flair, NWA World Heavyweight Champion, in some dire trouble here. And it is the champion down.
The signature Ric Flair just fall to your face move. I still to this day, every time he does that, I give a huge pop. Growing up, watching him do that was so much fun because you're like, oh, he's up. And then, of course, as he got further along in his career, he would walk around, throw his fists up, and then just drop to his face. But that was beautiful. I love that. I love Ric Flair.
And it is a Reed closing in once again into a lateral press.
Gordon, here we're seeing two of the top, maybe the 2,500 or so professional wrestlers and throughout the entire world. We're seeing the number one being Ric Flair and probably the number two wrestler in the entire world right here on Championship Wrestling. This is a match that all promote.
Two of the top 250 professional wrestlers in the world right now. They're wrestling for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. These are the two best wrestlers in the world right now. And I know we went back and recanted the statement, but this is the number one guy and the number two guy right now in the territories. So, awesome.
Promoters throughout the country, Japan, Mexico, Puerto Rico, all over, has bid for Championship Wrestling, has had the honor to come up with the funds to secure Ric Flair and also Hacksaw Reed, and it is an honor to watch
the Flair knee drop, baby.
these two men perform.
It is indeed, and it is Butch Reed now, Hacksaw Reed, having his problems as Ric Flair has gone back in time and is now pulling everything
Again, shout out to 106 in Albany. Thanks for the video.
that he has available to him now. Does not take any opponent lightly. He has certainly not taken Hacksaw Reed lightly, but it is Hacksaw Reed who has been carrying the battle to him, although Ric Flair, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, appears to be out front at this particular time. We'll be back. We'll be back in just a moment. Back in action once again.
Pure athlete. That is a pure athletic drop kick right there.
A fine series of drop kicks by Hacksaw Reed. And during that time that we were away, there were no pinfalls or submissions. But the battle, Reed has now decided to go through the air. However, he's caught there, a headbutt into the midsection. And it has to be both of these men, with the amount of time remaining in this match, both men are really beginning to feel the effects of it now. The NWA World Heavyweight Championship, in case you've tuned in late, this is a world title match. Ric Flair in the light blue trunks against Hacksaw Reed in the aquamarine trunks. The World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Beautiful move by Reed. Reed's got him up.
So powerful. That is pure power right there. Yes, Flair pushes off the shoulders and stuff like that, but that was just beautiful. That was awesome. I love watching professional wrestlers when they show strength and they show size and they show athleticism, and they show they can strike, they show they can truly mat wrestle. They have the whole package. And watching Butch Reed and a couple of his other matches that I've seen, he shows all of that. But this is like the pinnacle for him. This is one of his biggest matches of all time. So.
Slam by Hacksaw. Butch Reed has the champion in a lot of trouble here. There is the mark of the champion, Jerry.
Flair selling like he just died. I think he's selling more here than he did in his final match where he supposedly did die.
He was pressed well above the head of Butch Reed, thrown to the canvas, and yet managed to come out before that 3 count.
Well, throughout this match here, you see the tremendous body strength of Hacksaw Reed, lifting him well above his head and bringing him
That was so much cleaner.
down for one of the powerful slams. But throughout the match, the world champion has been trying to take away Butch Reed's strong point, and it's in the air. He's been keeping him in those percussion moves where he's slamming him to the mat. Here he was using his head. He saw Hacksaw Reed coming off the ropes to drop a knee drop. He was able to use his head and roll out of the way.
And it is, as you can see now, this match taking its toll on both men. A chop across the throat of Hacksaw Reed by the champion, Ric Flair. Flair, a man who had everything coming into this world, extremely wealthy parents, his choice of schools, private education throughout his entire academic career, then on to the
Again, Flair, right here, those strikes are so crisp, so beautiful. It's so great. Like I said, he didn't change really much of his moveset up throughout his career. Yeah, I mean, when he got a little bit older, he couldn't go as long and stuff like that. But, I mean, the Ric Flair I grew up watching, the Ric Flair I've known my whole life, has wrestled this exact same way. Again, timeless professional wrestling. You could take him in any generation and put him there as a 25, 26, 27-year-old kid with his skill set and say, wrestle. And he's going to put on great matches. He's going to put on memorable matches. And I think he would still, even today, if he started right now, I think he would end up on the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. He already is. He's already the number one. But
University of Minnesota, where he was an all-state wrestler, also an outstanding football player for the Golden Gophers of Minnesota, has followed and now for the past 8 years has been on that championship trail, having now acquired the World Heavyweight Championship, and all on the line right here. And what a battle we're seeing between these two men of Hacksaw Reed and the World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair, and desperation beginning to show in Flair's face now as Reed begins to close in on him. And Jerry, we could very well, I would have to.
Flair taking that backdrop. Again, I feel like Flair has taken a backdrop in every match he's ever been in.
They see an upset in the making, but certainly Reed, that adrenaline is flowing, and this man is really moving effectively.
Well, I know Butch Reed has been just training very, very diligently for this match. It's all it's been on his mind the last week. He has been pushing himself beyond the limits. He and Sweet Brown Sugar have been training just night and day, and it's all it's been on his mind. You've got to live, eat, and breathe this when you become a world champion, or even get in a position to be in the ring with the world champion. You cannot have anything else on your mind, and Butch Reed has showed us a beautiful counter move here, Gordon.
Selling the back that's been attacked this whole time. That is knowing what's gone on before in the match and understanding that, attacking the back and the backdrop and all that stuff. You have to sell that injury, or the moves you did before are not going to be believable and they're not going to be impactful. So that was awesome. I love that spot. I think when people can sell an injury that happened earlier in the match and continue to sell it and not pretend that it doesn't exist, I think that's the art of professional wrestling.
Good counter, and Reed getting the vertical.
And the fact that these guys are going through this match and they're remembering all of these spots and they're remembering their cues and it's just this is art. This is theater production in front of a live audience with a bunch of physicality.
To play on the World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair. 5 minutes remaining in this match. Only 5 minutes remaining.
5 minutes.
Got a foot on the ring rope, as you can see to the right of your screen. Flair managed to get the foot up, and it is Reed seizing that opportunity. And Reed, I can't help but feel, Jerry, is if it has to bend the rules, I think the intensity that we're seeing here, if he has to bend the rules to win this title, he's going to do it.
Well, that's the very important part of the philosophy of wrestling. You've got to know your rules. You've got to know how far you can go with somebody. You've got to know your position. You've got to count of 5. You can take it up until that count. And boy, when it gets down to
Flair selling the leg that was just attacked. Again, knowing your cues, knowing what's happened before, and continuing to tell that story of the moves that happened previous to the spot. This is professional wrestling. This is the art of pro wrestling. I'm going to repeat that a lot during these matches because all these matches are truly artistic masterpieces of theater production.
World Championship title match, you've got to go that extra little bit to win. And this is what we're seeing Bruce Reed do at this point, and he is really coming on.
Ric Flair now catches him with a chop across the throat. Rick got him now, a forearm across the side of the jaw, back of the ear. And it is Reed back on the canvas once again, now as the World Heavyweight Champion, Ric Flair.
I love timed matches. I have always loved timed matches. That's one thing about AEW that I really do enjoy is that they do have timed matches. WWE went away with it, but I would love to see WWE bring that back because I think it kind of gives the fans almost like a cheat to know when the finish is coming or to have an idea when the finish is coming, especially when you hear the ref in the outside or the bell keeper in the outside counting down the time. So
moves in on his man, sets him for a salto. Well executed. Reed came down partially on that shoulder, and that could spell some problems for Hacksaw Reed. And Reed is coming up considerably slower than he has been moving throughout the earlier moments of this match. Good move by Reed into a rolling reverse.
I love a striking kick out.
Again, the experience of the champion paid off for Ric Flair.
Reed was thinking ahead, though. That's one thing. He's beginning to regain his composure right now, Gordon. He's starting to come back a little bit, but Ric Flair, being the champ that he is, he knows he has Reed down. He's going to start really laying it into him, because when you have somebody on a run, you keep them running. And Ric Flair, a world champion, but he got a little confident, lost it. Oh.
Selling that back injury from before. Picked him up, couldn't hold him up, got dropped, got covered.
3 minutes remaining. That title is so close and yet so far. The count of 3. Double underhook. Beautiful, deep double underhook into a suplex by Reed. Lateral press and again.
3 minutes.
Flair, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, is able to power on. And again, Reed coming off those ropes. The champion rolls away from it. And Reed is pulling out all stops here, but the champion, equal to the task, is meeting him head on, and once again looks like he tried to set it for a pile driver. Counter move by Reed that was effective as the champion champion down once again, and look at the pace, look at the...
The storytelling in Butch Reed's face right there. Powering up, ready for the big finish, ready to get the win over Ric Flair. Going to hit his finisher, going to finish Ric Flair in the next 2 minutes. Again, shout out to 106 in Albany. Appreciate you for the video.
Intensity that was running across the face of Hacksaw Reed. And Jerry, as a competitor, as a man who won the World Junior Heavyweight Championship, it would be you or only people like you who could really...
That spot has gotten so much smoother throughout the years. That was rough.
Champion, 2 minutes remaining, 2 minutes. Upended over that
2 minutes.
rope, and the count is on. And Reed, one arm, one leg rather, through those ropes, and the champion brings him back in, and the champion going for the figure four. Has that rather unusual
45 seconds, about to lock in the figure four, taking his sweet time doing it.
application of the figure four, trying to cinch down on it, and Reed obviously straining that right leg, trying to block him from getting the position, and he has thus far. Breaks it up. Great counter by Hacksaw Reed.
30 seconds remaining.
30 seconds.
Beautiful counter.
Strength of Ric Flair. He's back on that leg, trying to go for that figure four. As you see, he goes from the opposite direction. But Butch Reed has studied this. You see him sticking that leg out. He's blocking it.
Flair's going for the figure four again. Can't seem to cinch it in, and there's only 15 seconds left.
That stiff leg there, he has worked on this move.
10 seconds. 10.
Night and day, Gordon. He knew it was coming, and he blocked.
5 seconds.
5.
Once again, the two of them now in a slugfest here. Both men swinging hard right hands, and neither man. The bell has rung.
The bell has rung. It is a draw. The champion retains.
Has rung. Neither man able to gain a pinfall or a submission hold in this one-fall World Heavyweight Championship match. And so the match is indeed a draw. But
If the match would have ended there, this would not be a 5-star classic. If the match ends here, this would not be one of the greatest matches of all time.
what a magnificent opportunity for Hacksaw Reed. Hacksaw Reed, who is looking very, very strong in the closing moments of this match.
In your opinion only, now, I'm the world champion on the title to special request. I don't want my record blemished by him or anybody else down here or anywhere else, period. I want 5 more minutes. I'm the world champion. I'm calling 5 more minutes.
The world champ doing his thing. He's calling for 5 more minutes in the match. He's got special privileges. He's Ric Flair. He's the greatest of all time. So he's putting in that special request. He doesn't want that draw on his record. So he wants 5 more minutes with Butch Reed to show he is the greatest of all time.
Well, I can't call 5 more minutes. That would be entirely up to the referee, and it would be entirely up to Butch Reed himself. So I can't do that, Mr. Flair. You'd have to check with the referee on that if you don't mind.
Hey, 5 more minutes.
All right. Yeah, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see another 5 minutes here, but...
And this is the build to the conclusion. Flair requesting 5 more minutes. The fans think they're about to go home before this point, and they get 5 more minutes of an NWA World Heavyweight Championship match.
Well, all right. He is saying that to the referee. Reed is rolling back in the ring.
Oh.
Well, this is an unprecedented situation. Ooh, the vanity of the champion.
5 more
the
minutes
ego
agreed
of
on.
the champion has really been marred. It has really been marred, and he is a totally irate individual. But Reed coming into this match now into a 5-minute overtime.
It's a whole new ball game here, Gordon. Anything goes in this. An extra 5 minutes. Butch Reed, Hacksaw Reed is dying for this opportunity.
It amazes me the champion. Ooh. Well, maybe now we know why the champion wanted that extra 5 minutes. He obviously felt tremendously embarrassed that it was a draw match, and now the champion Ric Flair.
Just the aggression by young Flair.
doing everything he can to avenge that. And those seconds keep ticking by. And if Reed can hold him for another 5...
The signature Flair chop. That was so aggressive.
5 minutes, it certainly has to put him way, way, way up in the rankings.
Well, it certainly would, and he's already way up there, or he wouldn't have the opportunity for this match. But Butch Reed, he got a dream come true. But what humiliation. Now, Ric Flair reaches down and backhands him across the face.
The only thing I can figure here is that Flair must have felt a weakening in Reed. He must have felt maybe that Reed, perhaps the partial application of that figure 4 to his leg on 2 different occasions, that maybe this has done it, maybe the percussion blows, but he must feel very, very confident that in this 5 minutes he's going to be able to put Mr. Reed's shoulders through the canvas. Beautiful cross-body block by...
These guys are exhausted. These guys are freaking exhausted.
Butch Reed. He got it! He got it! He beat it!
Butch Reed with the win, the new world champion.
He beat the world champion.
Butch Reed has just defeated Ric Flair. Butch Reed has just defeated the world champion Ric Flair. What? There's Sweet Brown Sugar in there congratulating
Great, tremendous.
Now here comes Terry Allen. Butch Reed has indeed, and you can hear the crowd here at the Sportatorium going absolutely insane as Butch Reed has just defeated NWA World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair. We'll be right back.
What a beautiful finish. What a beautiful finish. What a great way to cap off Butch Reed's title reign, or to start Butch Reed's title reign and to kind of end Ric Flair's, or so we thought. And I think the finish and this part right here is the reason why it was rated so high, especially at the time.
The contract's right here. It reads 30 minutes, not 35 minutes. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm sorry to disappoint Florida. And Reed, most of all, I'm real sorry to have to disappoint you. The contract signed by Bruce Reed, signed by Ric Flair, notarized by Florida Championship Wrestling, says 30 minutes.
Well,
That's
Did he almost say Jim Crockett Promotions right there?
admittedly, it was an overtime situation, and that overtime, the match did end in a draw. The official match ended in a draw, so
It ended in a draw with me pounding it through the mat. Now you know and I know that ever since I came to the great state of Florida, and I'm the first one to admit, the competition down here is as keen and rugged as anywhere in professional wrestling. But still, there can only be one Big Daddy, one cock and a walk. And Gordon Soley, you and Florida know that the man that wears this belt is that which we just discussed. The man. So Bruce Reed, I gotta go to Montreal. I gotta go to Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Dallas. I haven't got time right now to take care of you. But in the meantime, in front of everybody, I could have got to a bank in the last 5 minutes. I'd have done it. You see this, Gordon Soley? $3,000 right here. You see this? 10 grand.
A Flair promo. Flair keeps the belt due to a technicality in the contract. The contract didn't say anything about an overtime clause. Flair just kind of wrestled him for 5 more minutes. So essentially those last 5 minutes were null and void because the contract says 30 minutes. So Ric Flair, the dirtiest player of the game, the guy who knows all the rules, the guy who knows how to bend all the rules, the guy that can shake all the rules, retains his title in a draw. It was a win-win situation for him because if he would have won in the last 5 minutes, he would have kept his title. He would have won his title clean. But he lost in the last 5 minutes, and those last 5 minutes were overtime. So Flair retains on a draw at the end of regulation. What a screw job before screw jobs on Butch Reed.
Grand right there. You see this? Solid gold. Another $8,000. And this, Reed, it comes right off. It makes no difference. What up, God, Reed? You
He just broke the chain of his necklace. He couldn't get it off fast enough.
The devil crawled on the ground and haunted you day and night because the bounty's on. Money! And you know it! Money can buy Ric Flair anything you want! And right now, I want your any price! And before I come back to Florida, Reed, I want to read in the paper that you're no longer here. I let it go! I'll write the check! I'll put a green dollar bill! I let it go! Reed, you're done! Woo!
Again, big shout out to 106 Albany. What a great match. That was fun. It had, your high points, your low points. It had your slow build to the finish. You think the finish is over, and of course there's a little flair at the end. No pun intended. What a great match to watch. If the match would end at the regulation, it would not be as great of a match as what it was. But I think the finish, especially at that time, was incredible. So, yeah, I agree. 5-star match, especially at the time frame that it was shot. This has been my first episode of Beers to Bells. Really enjoyed doing this. Hopefully I have some more content coming up soon. Can't wait to do the Flair Steamboat match, and can't wait to do some of these fun ones that I've never seen before. I have seen Flair Steamboat, but super excited to see how this shapes up. Super excited to hear what you guys think. If you like it, please make sure you go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. And if you don't like it, please just show support with a simple like. Super excited to do this. Super excited to share my love of professional wrestling with you guys and just kind of get to geek out and enjoy something that I truly love. So this has been the first edition of Beers to Bells. Cheers. And thank you for your support.